Hello and welcome to The Rare Agent, where we pull back the curtain on all things real estate. We're your hosts, Christina, Mary Jo, and Murray, offering up a judgment-free space for collaboration over competition. In today's episode, we're honored to have Karen Stinz, the president and CEO of Variety Ontario, sharing her incredible journey of bringing the power of sports to children living with disabilities. We are inspired by her passion, vision, unwavering dedication to helping every child achieve their personal best. Thanks, Karen, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Excited.
Very excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So we're going to jump right into it.
Okay.
So can you tell us more about your journey? What inspired you to lead Variety Ontario?
Well, it's, as everybody gets older, they realize their journey was not a straight line. And if someone had told me I was going to be leading Variety Ontario, I probably would have questioned that, given that my background is in the public sector and policy. And then, of course, I ran for city council, and I was a Toronto city councillor for 11 years. And so it's an interesting story. This ward, actually, in North Toronto. At the time, it was Ward 16, and now it's a different configuration because they changed the boundaries. But it was what led me to Variety Village and Variety Ontario was that there was a stop sign that was needed in front of the facility because there hadn't been. And the TTC had determined that because there was a community bus out of Victoria Park, they didn't need to put a bus stop in front of Variety Village. And I became chair of the TTC. And Mike Strobel for the Toronto Sun took it upon himself to advocate for the stop sign. So while I was chair of the TTC, he challenged me to come out to Variety Village, taking transit, and to see whether or not a stop sign was needed. So I did. I took my two kids and we took transit and we got to the Variety Village and I determined that, yes, a stop sign was required. So with that, as chair of the TTC, we had that stop sign installed.
I didn't know
Or bus
that.
stop, rather. Sorry, I keep saying stop sign. It's bus stop.
Bus stop. Okay.
Bus stop.
Oh, that
that's
makes
why.
more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry. Yes. Oh, no, do I need to retell the story?
No.
Okay, now we know bus stop. Okay,
Wherever
so
she
it's a bit
said
more
stop sign,
significant.
it's a bus stop.
It's a bus stop.
That is
Yes.
so good.
And so, as I say, then I was a city councillor, chair of the TTC, and I ran for mayor. Of course, I wasn't successful, and so I was invited to leave politics, which was an invitation I accepted.
You were invited to leave politics?
By myself, yes. I invited myself.
okay.
That's a new level I didn't know before.
And so I was looking for a job. And as it happened, a colleague of mine that I worked with at City Hall saw that there was an opening at Variety Ontario and Variety Village for a CEO. And I applied and I was hired. And it's been a remarkable journey.
I remember when you were hired because me and my son have been coming to Variety Village for the last 17 years. And when the changeover happened and, I'm like, okay, who's this? Who's this and what's she going to do? And honestly, it's been super impressive seeing your journey there.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to say I wasn't mayor of the city, but I'm mayor of the village.
You're mayor of the village.
Yes.
For sure. You certainly are. Well, you joined what? Like how many years have you been at Variety now?
2015 I joined.
Okay, so you had a little bit under your belt before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Because I remember COVID and what that was like.
Oh, it was brutal. It was really brutal. But so when I was hired, actually, I was hired with the directive to invest in the facility, make it sustainable because the finances were a bit tricky when I took over, and to grow the brand and the reach and the impact. And so over the past 8 years, and Mary Jo's on the board, so she's helped tremendously achieving those ambitions. And over the past 8 years, I think we've invested $6 million in the facility, $7 million in the facility. And we've expanded across the province, and we're now programming in 14 municipalities in addition to our flagship facility of Variety Village.
Which was not happening before Karen got there, by the way.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy the kind of expansion that's happened since you got there, including Volt hockey. But we can come back to that.
So I used to be a child and family therapist, and I worked at Aisling Discoveries, which is a child and family services program, I guess it would be. And we used to take the kids to Variety Village, but I think this was before your time. And when I went in with Mary Jo and got the tour with you guys, it was just a different place, different energy. Everything just seemed so much more like running smoothly, so many more activities and so much for the kids to do that like I wanted to hang out there.
There's so many amazing programs, including, the Paralympics actually train at Variety Village. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but we have a new track there, which was just put in
Well,
2
it's a
years ago?
fascinating history of Variety Village. It's been in the community for over 70 years, and it was initially built as a school for kids, boys in particular with disabilities, because they couldn't be educated in the mainstream school system. And so for 30 years, it was a school, and there was dormitories, and kids from all over Ontario came. They were educated. They had access to skills training. And in addition to the school, we ran a prosthetics facility.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And so really quite remarkable, because the young men could, as I say, get an education, get skills, get employment, and become ambassadors in their community advocating for accessibility. And
So empowering.
Do you still have some of those kids, those men that went to school there, come back now?
No, not so much, not so much. But
cool.
then you would like to say we're a victim of our own success, because the school boards opened up, they became more accessible, and we were no longer needed, luckily, to be a school anymore, because there was more options for kids.
Which is great.
Which is great.
Double-edged
So
sword, but great.
at that point, we looked at what is our next contribution to kids in their growth and in development and empowerment. And after an education, it really is the ability to participate in sport and recreation. So for the next 30 years, we were a center for parasport training, as Mary Jo mentioned. And what's fascinating is that since the late 1970s, variety athletes and coaches have represented Canada at every single Summer Paralympic Games,
Wow.
including the last one. So it's quite an impressive legacy that is a bit of a kept secret that we're trying to get out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I recognize a lot of the athletes, actually, because I go there so often. I've seen them, and then I know that they're going to play at the games. So
It's really great.
if you're having a tough day, I come out to Variety Village.
Absolutely. It's just magical.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that makes it so magical is that everybody finds their space to achieve at Variety. And as Mary Jo knows, often kids are told no if they have a disability. No, they can't participate. No, they can't be accommodated. No, this is not the right place for them. Whereas at Variety, we take the approach that every kid is going to find a way to participate and succeed.
I love that.
Well, it has, and they have the support.
And we have the support.
Yeah.
What it makes me think of, sorry to interrupt. It makes me think of, while you're speaking, I can just see like a fire ignites inside you when you feel like, oh my God, I can do this. This is something that maybe they didn't know that they could achieve, and you're giving them an opportunity there to actually see what purpose they could have and what they could really thrive at. And that just because they have a disability, it doesn't mean it's going to hold them back from the things that they love. Like they can find a passion in something. And that's, I believe, what our soul needs to thrive and grow.
Absolutely.
And that's huge. I think that is what most people need.
Yeah.
A lot of times
So resilient.
you don't even realize what your kid can do
Yeah.
because you don't know that there's options to show them.
Right.
So when I took AJ to Variety Village, he tried Taekwondo. I'm like, we would never have had the option to do that. We tried rock climbing, we tried swimming, we did drama camp. Like
You can find out what they really like.
yeah, there's options, whereas normally there wouldn't be, right? So, and that was one of the amazing things I find, and it's a 100,000 square foot facility. Like there isn't anything like it in the city.
When you first became CDO, what was one of your first initiatives? Like how you transformed it? What was the first thing you decided to work on?
So it's silly, but one of the first things that I did was have the parking lot paved. I don't know if you remember, but the parking lot was just miserable. It was unless you had an SUV, you couldn't actually pull into the parking lot. It was
I forgot about that.
It was so bad, and my job when I was hired was to reinvest in this facility, and I said the welcome of this facility right now is one of decline. Because when you pull into the parking lot, the first thing you think of is that this facility is in decline. So we need to repave the parking lot.
You know what? That is exactly the vibe that I got originally when I used to go with the kids, and then now when I visited. Like it was in decline before, and now it just feels like it's actually on its way up.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And so that investment, we were really lucky. We were able to partner with a paving company and pay over 2 years. And with that then began the investment of federal, provincial, and private money into the facility.
Amazing.
How did you spearhead that?
It was really timing and opportunity, and that we had been lobbying the Liberal government for $5 million to invest in the facility because we needed a number of infrastructure pieces that are hard to raise money for.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to raise money when you need a new transformer, right? Because no one can put their name on a transformer. So those are the kinds of things that become really important for public sector financing to support. And so the province, we were lobbying them for $5 million, and we were getting really close. And then, of course, the government was defeated, and the Ford government came in. And so our pitch was, well, just give us 50% of what the Liberals committed. It's just 50%. Cut it by 50. And they said, okay.
Oh, wow.
We got $2.5 million. So it was
awesome.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
You didn't have to lobby all that hard.
Yeah, we didn't have to lobby all that hard. And then we got some federal money. And then as our private donors started to see the investment occur, then they came to the table, and we got new curtains for the track and a new track.
The track is
That's
amazing.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, you can see the athletes are just flocking to it now.
Yes. And it's just one of those things we didn't realize actually how almost grubby it had become until we replaced it with a new one. And we're like, wow, it's an entirely new feel here, which is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's good that you knew all the ins and outs of the government.
Yes, that was helpful. Yeah.
That was so helpful. Yeah.
How do you engage a new generation of donors to support charities and their work, particularly when addressing the challenges faced by not-for-profit sector?
Yeah, it's a good question and a challenge that we are facing, because we have our regular donors, our corporate donors, but engaging the next generation of donors has been a challenge. And what we've found is that they are motivated by stories, and they're motivated when they see the impact. And so we've spent more time telling the stories about our kids and what they achieve, and what it means for families and kids and communities, and also events. When we have our food truck festival, for example, we invite the community in, and we try to make it fun. And then when we invite a different, kind of a new generation of donors and interested people into the facility, and they see what we're doing, and they hear the stories, then they become more engaged.
And this is where the ambassadors come in. And where Mike Strobel, who I didn't realize the story of Mike Strobel was the one that actually introduced you to Variety Village.
Yeah.
Mike Strobel runs the Sun Fund for the Toronto Sun, and he's raised $1.8 million so far for Variety Village.
Wow.
And the goal right now is to try and get it to $2 million.
Yeah. So this year we have a campaign to raise through our direct mail campaign over the holidays, $200,000, which would be record breaking. And to give you a sense of what that trajectory looks like, when I started, the Sun Fund raised $30,000.
Wow.
Last year we raised $120,000, and Mike this year wants to get it to $200,000.
Wow.
And we think we can get there, in part because we are programming in more communities across Ontario. So our impact is being felt in more places, and our brand is expanding. And so we're pretty excited about the challenge.
That's awesome.
A really big reach you guys have right now. So you're talking about, donors and how getting them in, but can you tell us about some success stories that these donors would see and why they would get, you pull on their heartstrings? Like, could you share a story with us?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would love to hear one.
I'm going to talk about Volt Hockey.
Yes.
Okay.
Because not only did we provide opportunities for kids with disabilities to play an adapted version of Canada's national sport, we created a whole new league of hockey parents. That was pretty.
I don't think they know really what Volt Hockey is.
Yeah, so Volt Hockey, it's played with specially designed chairs that are battery operated, and so kids with very limited mobility can play hockey. Before Volt, it was you could play wheelchair power hockey if you were older, or sledge hockey. But if you couldn't push your sledge, then you need a pusher. And so for a lot of kids, Volt Hockey is a way for them to independently play hockey as in their younger years.
And
But like paraplegics can play Volt Hockey.
Absolutely.
So all you need to
invented
just be
the-
able to move your hand on the joystick and you can play.
Wow.
Who
Yeah.
invented the Volt? Was it something that you guys created?
No. It
or-
was. It's actually it started in Denmark.
Okay.
The King of Denmark, or the Prince of Denmark, made a commitment that he wanted to have this be a parasport, Volt Hockey. And so in order for that to happen, it has to be played in a certain number of countries. And so part of the ambition was to bring it to Canada, because it's played in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Germany. And now it's played in Canada and the US. So it started, when I started in 2015, there was 10 chairs at Variety Village. And again,
And each chair is like $10,000. So
Yeah.
it's a big investment.
because they're shipped over from Denmark.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we had these chairs, we had the kids, and as Mary Jo mentioned, if you can operate a joystick, you can navigate these chairs, and they're battery powered, and at their top speed they can go up to 30 kilometers an hour.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Like
I've
riding a
gotten in these
scooter,
chairs
basically.
just to try it out, and I mean, it takes some skill,
For sure.
to maneuver that. It takes, because you're literally driving like a go-kart with a stick on the end of it, and you have to try and control a ball and
get it
play
in
and
the
play
net.
Wow,
hockey.
that's actually intense.
It is. It
And
is.
you can play it. The great part is you can play it on any gym surface floor. And so we had these 10 kids, these 10 chairs, and we were running the program, and everybody was having a great time. And then a year later, they got bored because they were only playing each other, and then they went on to do other things like taekwondo or swimming. So that's when I realized that if we were going to actually make this a sport, we needed more Volt chairs in more places so kids can play, and we could run tournaments, and we could have competitions and support these kids, really understand the power of sport and what it means to competition, collaboration, team building, and working together and making friends. And so, as I say, over the last several years, we've now we're in 9 municipalities running Volt, and we've got 4 divisions. Last year, we had the first annual North American Volt Hockey Tournament at Variety Village. And we had 40 athletes come from across Canada and the U.S. So it's played now in Ontario, Manitoba, and Alberta, in Boston. And
you took Variety Village to Sweden.
yeah, we took Team Canada to Sweden, and they competed in the World Cup of Volt Hockey in
The very
Sweden.
first World Cup.
Yeah.
Which was, I went with AJ, and
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have ever had that kind of experience if you didn't put that together. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and that's what it brings. That's what this Variety Village. That's the magic,
And it brings the
Variety
families
Ontario
together, which
absolutely.
is very
That's
beautiful.
exactly it.
You know, like you're meeting other moms and other dads. That
When
are,
else?
that
Like, I'm a single mom, so when else would I have been able to travel with my son, who's in a wheelchair, with a bunch of other families in similar positions, to go and play sport in another country? You know, we don't have those opportunities. We just don't. So this was it's an amazing thing that you've done, and I've watched it grow from 10 chairs to now a full league.
Yeah.
You know, that's played in.
Because now we have 80 chairs. We've gone from 10 chairs to 80 chairs across the province to give an example of the magnitude.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And how long has this been?
7 years.
7 years at $10,000 a chair. So imagine raising money for
That's
that.
amazing.
It's Jumpstart. Jumpstart is one
Jumpstart, Bank of Nova Scotia. And then the province of Ontario invested, and those are our bigger donors. But Cooper Equipment Rental, we have a number of donors that have come to the table. But what's amazing is that we asked some of the parents how they felt, with their kids playing Volt, and they said that they saw their sons. In this case, their sons in these chairs, because boys and girls can play together. But they said, I saw my son in the Volt hockey chair, and it was like he had legs again.
Wow. That is so inspiring.
Yeah.
You're inspiring. I mean, Mary Jo's a huge fan, so I feel like I know you already. I've only met you a few times, but
Thank you.
I love what you're doing, and I think it's so important and so special, and it takes a certain kind of magic in you to be able to create this kind of magic. So I'm getting emotional, actually.
It's it is a magical thing. Like, honestly, to open those. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's okay. And I'm just wondering, like, what do you do for yourself to be such a magical human that you can do the things that you do? How do you support yourself? And, how do you make yourself feel good? I mean, I know this all, like, seeing the results would probably fill you up, because I'm feeling that way just sitting here listening to you. Yeah. But what are the things that you enjoy that make you feel good?
Well, again, I think it's not a surprise. I ended up at Variety in a sport environment because I do like sports.
Okay.
And as Mary Jo knows, I like to bike to work. I like to ski. I like to play tennis.
Okay.
And so part of what inspires me, again, is that I love to do those things. So seeing others be able to do those things, it just doesn't feel like work.
Well, how does it compare to working in, like, for the city? Like, how would you say, what's the major differences between working?
Well, when I was a politician, it was a very different type of environment because, especially as a city councillor, because you need to know a lot. So you need to know a little about a lot of things. Because on any given day, I could be asked about a transit project or something that happened on the TTC or a local neighborhood issue or someone's upset that the dogs are barking or the parking in the street they don't like. So there's a whole range of issues that you need to be able to address. But the flip side of that is you don't really get to dive deep into how do you build a program and actually create change. Because as a city councilor, as a politician, you vote on directional change, but you don't actually implement it. You rely on the bureaucracy to implement it. And so I had the unique opportunity of working with both David Miller as a mayor and Rob Ford as a mayor. So very different leadership styles, exposed me to very different issues that the city was facing. As chair of the TTC, got to oversee the approval of the Eglinton Crosstown, the LRT, which is currently under construction, been under construction since I left.
And still will be for a while.
Do you know when it'll be ready?
I'm predicting it's going to be ready by the summer. It'll be open in the summer of 2024.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a light at the end of the tunnel.
You're pulling my leg. Don't talk to me this way.
Maybe is there only some of the stations, not all of it?
No, it should be all of it, actually.
Really?
Yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll come back and revisit how many times 24.
How many times have you been wrong?
Well, I predicted that Trump was going to be president before anyone believed me.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm not bad. But
will he be president again?
I think he might be.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm less certain on that one, but I think he might be.
Interesting.
But just moving to an organization like Variety Village, just to close that loop, it gave me the opportunity to work with a team of people. Being a politician is really isolating.
And soul crushing.
And it can be soul crushing.
So this is work you're doing from your heart.
Yes. Yeah.
So this like brings you alive, you know?
Absolutely.
When you can see a project from the beginning to the end and actually see results, what's more empowering and amazing than that, right?
Yeah. And being able to work with a board and lead a team and see the results, to your point, is really rewarding.
Yeah. And empowering kids who may not have had that opportunity if it wasn't for Variety Village.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing stories, and I know you know a lot of them. And Mike Strobel actually put a lot of them in a book and sells it to raise money for Variety Village, which I'm not sure if he's still doing that.
Yeah, Little Miracles.
Little Miracles,
That's awesome.
And AJ's in the book.
Yes, you showed me this.
Yes,
okay,
it's called Little Miracles. But I mean, what's another story you could tell us, like a one that really sticks out for you?
Oh, it was one of the programs that we run in addition to Volt. It's called Children in Motion. And we brought that program to Vaughan, the city of Vaughan. And we were working with the Children in Motion program. It can be tailored to kids with physical disabilities or those on the spectrum.
Right.
So it's one of those, it can be really flexible and meet the kids' needs where they're at. And a mom brought her son, and the son was acting out, and the mom was going to leave. And actually did leave. And Steve, who was running the program, called the mom and said, "Why'd you leave?" And she said, "Well, I just know my son. I know he's going to act out, and I've been asked to leave so many programs. I just decided I would leave before asked."
Like she took him and left?
She took him and left.
Okay.
Before he could act out. And Steve said, no, that's not how our program works. And, bring your son back. And she came back. And he did act out. And Steve's like, it's okay. It's okay. We know how to deal with this. And so over time, the boy became more used to the program, was able to participate, and from the beginning of the program to the end of the program, it was an entirely new experience. And the mom got to talk to other moms.
Yeah, and that's huge. I don't know.
I know. we're such saps. I know, that's beautiful. That's actually amazing.
And so when you think about these kids, a lot of these kids don't have friends.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of moms.
They're
a
so
lot of dads.
isolated. Yeah. And there's a lot of shame attached to that.
Well,
so
not
getting
that,
past it.
It's not really shame. It's just like if your kid doesn't have friends, who are you socializing with? Right. When taking care of your kid takes up so much of your time.
It's a big problem in the world of, parents with kids with disabilities. Like they don't know how to socialize. And a lot of times they're not included.
Right.
Right. So Variety is a place where you can go where everybody's included.
Yeah.
But this mom had an opportunity to take like a pattern almost where her son and she was having the same experience and then probably had some, insecurities attached to it, which is why she left so quickly. But she's had a completely different experience.
Well, and now she knows how to advocate for herself and her son.
Exactly. So she knows it's not him that's the problem.
Correct. It's the environment.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to handle different situations when you're creating programs like that.
Absolutely.
It can't be so, in the box. Like,
and I think that's the big thing. I think that if you were to ask a municipality or ask a service provider or recreational, space where they have recreational programming, would you say, well, do you want to be inclusive? Well, of course, the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
The difficulty is they don't necessarily know how. And they just don't have the experience that we have.
Exactly.
And so part of what we do is we go into municipalities and we, particularly ones who run camps, and we do inclusivity training so that more environments can understand how to be inclusive and have that opportunity.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing satellite sites of variety.
We do some programming in satellite sites, like the Volt programming we do in satellite locations, and the Children in Motion we do in, the one in Vaughan did close down after COVID, but we are opening it up in Mississauga, and we do it downtown at MLSE, the launch pad.
Oh, wow.
So
I didn't know about that one.
yeah. Yeah, so we tentacles are all over.
No, I know. There's so many, and I'm somebody who actually knows Variety Village, and I don't even realize all the programming that's available for people.
Yeah.
Where would they go if they want to find out more information?
They'd go to our website, www.varietyontario.ca.
Can you tell us some more upcoming tell us a bit more about some upcoming projects Variety has going on right now?
Yeah, well, we've got the Christmas party coming up in December. It's open to the community. We've got we're launching our drive for the Sun Fund. And our campaign, our giving campaign there. We've got our casino night coming up in May, which is a fun night. Get for the community again to raise funds to send kids to camp. We're working on something. We're going to see if we can do it for this summer. Variety is a part of a global charity actually, and there's chapters across Canada. There's chapters in BC, Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario. And there's a camp, an overnight camp that's fully accessible that Manitoba runs. And we thought this summer it would be fantastic if we could have all the Variety kids from across the country go to the camp.
An overnight camp.
An overnight camp. But like a fully accessible overnight camp with all the washrooms are accessible, all the pathways are accessible, all the dining facilities are accessible. There's no stairs. It's a camp with no stairs.
That's amazing.
And so every kid can go. And so we're trying to figure out how to make that happen. So that's another project that we're working on. And then again, we'll have the North American Volt Hockey Tournament, and getting all those new clubs up and running is a bit of a challenge. So it's there's a lot going on.
How would funding work for the camp?
Well, that's part of what hopefully the casino night will help raise.
Okay.
Yeah, because, and again, there's a lot of logistical things to figure out, which I haven't yet. So there's still some work to do there.
Well, you pulled off the trip to Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I think
actually,
you can probably do it.
Karen managed to send 8 families.
Yeah.
Was it 8 families to
Yeah.
Sweden to compete in the first World Cup for Volt hockey?
Yeah. And we came second.
Yeah.
came
Oh,
second.
that's
Second in our
amazing.
division, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never seen. I was there with my son. I've never seen anything like it. Like Sweden takes this very, very seriously, and we saw a range of people with disabilities that I didn't even know was possible. Like I saw a girl with a breathing machine who was fierce.
Oh,
like she was deadly. You didn't want to go up against her. Like honestly, like I was like, oh my God. Like I couldn't believe
The power of the mind.
the power of the power of the mind and just how excited everybody was. Like you could feel the energy when you got there. And yeah, like I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
They treat people with respect. Everybody's treated equally. You know, there's no difference regardless of your ability. So it was very impressive, and it's nice to see Variety is taking that same approach, and I really hope that it leads the way for other people.
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do this podcast not only to get information out and to connect with the community, but also we really like the effects of mindset. And you know, what I see from you is you really care. You know, it's not just that you know, because you clearly know what to do and you have means to do what you need to do, but it's coming from your heart and it's coming from like a true joy and also true inspiration. So it's really lovely to see that. And I mean, Mary Jo is, like I said, a big, like she really is inspired by what you do, and seeing it in person and just seeing you speak about it, I can totally see why Variety has done the amazing things that it's done for these kids. It's been like, I'm so impressed. Yeah.
Is there a message or any advice you'd like to share with our audience, encouraging them to contribute to creating a more inclusive and empowering environment?
Yeah, I think the one thing that, the one message I would leave with people is that creating an inclusive environment is a benefit for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And understanding how to include more people, how to make a more accessible environment, how to make people feel welcome, that the benefits that everyone receives when that happens are enormous. And certainly variety has changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also I think people can realize too that their kids can volunteer.
Yeah, their kids
at
can
Variety
volunteer.
Village if they want to be exposed to something new and something different, and understand, that everybody is capable of doing different things in different ways.
And my son works at Variety Village, and it's changed his life.
You know what? I was just thinking I would love for my kids to work at Variety Village.
Yeah.
I was telling a friend that I was coming to, you were here, and she was like, "Oh, I used to be the lifeguard there."
Oh, yes.
And I was like, "Oh, that's so good."
It's funny. I'm sure once this goes live, how many people are going to say, "Oh, I know somebody who worked at Variety Village," or "I went to Variety Village when I was a kid." Like it's reached out to so many communities over the years.
How long has it been open?
70 years?
Over 70. Yeah.
70.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's got an incredible history because it was a charity that built the facility, and Prince Philip actually broke ground on it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Again, another
Huge
fun
history.
fact. Another fun fact.
Huge history, yeah. And a lot of the people that work at Variety Village were actually, they used to go there as kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I find like most of them are like, "Oh yeah, I was here 20 years ago," and they all, they just keep coming back because it's one of those facilities that you just never leave once you start coming.
If there's a family that has a child with special needs, but then the other kids could be in just
Fully able-bodied.
full able-bodied program, could they go to the programs too?
Absolutely. And that's another appeal for many families is that we can program for all abilities. And so especially our camps. So for parents, they don't have to worry about dropping a child off at one location, then going to another location.
Yes.
It's all at Variety Village.
My kids have done camp at Variety Village.
Yeah. And because we've got the pool, we've got the track, we've got, as Mary Jo, basketball and rock climbing and high ropes. And
So it's a whole facility for the whole family. Like
Absolutely.
It's not, that's so
Absolutely.
so special.
And we're launching as well. We're now launching sitting volleyball, golf, and accessible baseball in partnership with the Jays Care.
Oh, that's
They helped us build an accessible baseball diamond, and now they're funding our accessible baseball program. So we're bringing more options to more kids.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have
That's
been
so
involved
good.
with Variety Village for a number of years, as well as Pizza Nova.
As well as Pizza Nova, significant contributor there every year. They they run a program in May, the Dip and Give.
Yeah, yeah. So every May they
Every
do
May.
one whole month where they contribute 50 cents from every dip to Variety Village.
Oh, I was like, what dip? Okay, I got it now.
Yes.
Okay, the pizza dip.
Because it used to be a day. Actually, there was one day where they would sell pizza and a soda for $1.99 or $2.99 or something, and then we
It's
would
gone
get
up a little bit since then.
Yeah, we've gone up. But actually, COVID prevented that because part of the appeal of that day was you go and wait in line, and then you get your pizza and a drink, and then there was a building up of this excitement and community because everybody's waiting in line.
Television was always there
and
to
breakfast
cover it.
television was
Yeah.
always there to cover it. But then, of course, during COVID, you couldn't have people waiting in line, and we didn't want to run that kind of campaign. So Dominic worked with his suppliers, and they came up with the idea of a month-long campaign, which every dip that you buy, again, 50 cents comes to Variety. And again, it took our donations, our donations were, like $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. And if it rained, they were impacted, right? Because nobody wanted to stand in line in the rain. But now this campaign brings us over 200,000.
Oh, wow.
Every year.
Yeah.
So great.
It's Dominic Pamucci from Pizza Nova. It's amazing.
I've heard his voice.
Yeah.
It's Dominic Pamucci. I didn't hear it in my head.
He's got that Zappa Costa in the background. Yeah.
Well, so Karen, we're getting close to the end of the pod, and we want to get to know you a little bit better. So what is your favorite GTA neighborhood?
Definitely North Toronto. Yeah, I grew up here. My kids are growing up here. My parents were married at a church down the street. All my good
cute.
friends live 5 minutes away, 10 minute away. So it's a great neighborhood.
Awesome. And as a busy CEO, what's your favorite what's your favorite go-to fast food?
Definitely pizza. Yeah, if I need a quick dinner, everyone loves pizza.
Perfect. And what makes a CEO rare?
I think it's the ability to problem solve. And when I think about what my job is, it's just seeing every problem as an opportunity to solve, and not and seeing where that leads. And finding the answers may look a little bit different than what I anticipated, but that journey is always an interesting one. And I think that's what CEOs really bring to the table.
Yeah, I love that. A little bit of snap for that one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our guest.
Thank you
very much.
So everybody, we'll see you next week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in a week.
And donate.
And donate to Variety Ontario.
And it's also located at Danforth and Birchmount. What's the address?
3701 Danforth Avenue.
37.
Go on in, explore it.
Exactly.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen.